Tell me it's not true, ladies and gentlemen, that we have reached the month of October. Please tell me it's not true. Can you believe it? Less than 3 months for the fat guy with the red suit and the white beards. I'm here talking to Jimmy Senegrobi saying, it's October. Well, we got a lot to talk about. No guests today, myself and Jim, as we've done many times since I've joined his operation years ago. We are going to talk sports. We're talking SU today. We're talking about that football program and their almost major upset against number 2 team Clemson over the weekend. We're going to talk about the Ryder Cup. Loosen up those collars, that good old American team. We're going to talk about some MLB playoffs and a whole lot more. And plus, we're going to send out a couple of special happy birthdays. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's a dog with you up on the 3rd floor of North Park. Yeah, beautiful studios here. Every time I look in here, I only come in obviously once a week to do my show. But, Jimmy, you really upgraded from where we were to where we are now. This is really a nice studio. Done a nice job, and it's only going to get better. Still. I know, but looking good. Well, listen, there are times where we don't have a guest, and this week we don't have one. We're trying to get one for next week. We have some people online to get in here. We're trying to get the Kyle Black and the Mark Benjamin duo from Seneca Metals. A lot of talk about them. I've been in touch with Kyle. We're trying to schedule a date. We'll keep you posted. Yes, we're still trying to get Mark Giuliano, the Executive Vice President and General Manager, taking over from Jeff Babinski out of Del Lago. We're trying to get a date for him, so we've got a lot of things in the offing. If you're watching me today and you would like to come on the show and talk about some, festivities around the holidays, Thanksgiving, you got something going, you want to share it with our audience, please let me know or let Jim know, and we'll try to get you a date and set a date for you. I can tell you I won't be here on the 15th of the month, which is a couple of weeks from today, but we are going to be hopefully get a guest for next week. If not, we'll repeat today's show talking about really pertinent sports news, and there's a lot going on in the world of sports. You know, this is a time of the year, believe it or not, the National Hockey League gets going. That's hard to believe. We got baseball now getting into the playoff scenario, and now we got 2 games today that are playing the 163rd game of the year. And oh, by the way, for an update, the Cubs are playing the Brewers right now in Chicago. 1-1. Rizzo, another home run, tied the game. They're in the bottom of the 6th, and it's 1-1. And what's going to happen there is the loser is going to go into a 1-game elimination. The winner will move into the National League Division Series. So that's a big game. It's 1-1, bottom of the 6th inning. Then later this afternoon around 4 o'clock, actually about an hour from now, it'll be the amazing Colorado Rockies against the Los Angeles Dodgers in L.A. The same premise is holding true. The winner moves on, and they get into a best of 5 where the loser will play the 1-game wild card. And for all you Yankee fans, I know you're excited. I know you probably got your schedules all figured out. You're going to tell your girlfriend or your wife, leave me alone if you're not into baseball, because I'm going in the other room. 8 o'clock on Wednesday night, the Yankees hosting the Oakland Athletics. It's not going to be easy to win that one, but I'd rather see the Yankees, and I'm sure the Yankee fans would agree with me. You'd rather play it at home, Jimmy, than you would on the road out in Oakland, because, yes, the short porch and the Athletics have had a great season, and they got not just as much firepower as the Yankees, but they got a lot of firepower, and that short right field fence is going to be interesting to see how that game unveils on Wednesday night.
You don't want to go all the way across the country either for one game.
Right.
Especially even if you win, you got to go play in the Red Sox.
Exactly. So. Come back this way, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was getting that home field for that game was huge, and they're really pretty much healthy again for the first time.
They do.
Time. Gregorius, it looked like he was going to be out for the whole season. He's ready to go. Yeah, who knows? I mean, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
And the other thing is the Yankees are one of the best teams in baseball. They won 100 games, but just because Boston had 108 wins, I think. I mean, so we're 8 games behind Boston.
I think so, yeah, at least that. They might have had more. We'll have to check that out.
But the Yanks were right with them for the most part, and they've had a lot of injuries all season. So now I think it's going to be great. I'm excited for it.
And Sanchez is heating up. He's trying to hit some home runs. Sanchez.
Yeah.
He's trying to hit the ball.
Again, it's just one series. Anything can happen. You can have the greatest regular season in the history of the league and get knocked out in the opening series. So
some amazing stats for the Yankees. I think they're either tied or they have eclipsed the most home runs by any Major League Baseball team ever.
Yeah.
I believe that is true. And by the way, another statistic that blew me away. The New York Yankees 2018 edition is the only team in Major League Baseball history that their entire lineup, Jim, 1 to 9, has 20 or plus home runs.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
1 to 9 in their lineup because obviously they have the designated hitter.
I think Andujar set a doubles record. They
Amazing.
have a lot of offensive records.
That's pretty staggering.
And the pitching's good too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a good team.
Yeah. It's pretty staggering.
Tough to be in the AL East.
Yeah, it is. So, it is. It's pretty amazing. Think about the entire lineup. You put the lineup card every day, and every one of those guys, 1 to 9, has 20 or more home runs. I don't know if that'll ever get repeated. Well, okay, so check out the baseball action. Again, the Dodgers and the Rockies going at it at 4 today, and ESPN. And, of course, if you're checking us out and you want to hopefully watch the show today, but if you don't, we don't have a problem. You're muting us and maybe going to watch some of the baseball game with the Dodgers and not the Dodgers, but the Cubbies and the Brewers. Well, Jimmy, you're SU Orangeman. Of course, I always like to pick on him a little bit, but I got to be honest with you. I have become a Dungy fan. The kid has amazing skill sets as quarterback, and he is. I do worry about him with some of his amazing runs coming out of the backfield as quarterback because I'm worried about him getting banged up again and getting taken out. But you got to give them credit. They were 28.5 points in certain lines in Vegas, underdogs this past Saturday down in Clemson. My buddy Sam Cosentino up in Geneva was holding on for dear life. And then I was working, actually. I was working, and I went to my daughter's clam bake, so I didn't see it. But I understand, Jim, you can fill me in, that Clemson scored with a little time left, right, to win it out.
Yeah, I mean, everything went great for Syracuse.
Yep.
They could have got a few first downs in the fourth quarter. They could have won the game. I don't know. I don't think there's moral victories.
Yeah.
If you win that, if you're Syracuse and you win that, then you got an inside track to win the ACC, go to the BCS. And there was a ridiculous phone call. Mm-hmm. Not phone call by the referee where they called one of our linemen downfield ineligible on a key third down conversion. And, it just seems to me that call, first of all, it didn't look like it should have been called but they did.
Did the commentators make a comment about it?
Well, the Syracuse radio commentators did.
Yeah, I bet they did.
But, it seems just like in a situation like that everybody wants Clemson to win that game, to get that BCS money. I'm just not a big fan of what's happening in college sports. And to me, that call was indicative. If they didn't call it, nobody complains, nobody notices. Instead, it's a huge call. It goes against Syracuse. Clemson's able to pull it out, and they stay undefeated.
Ironically, too, Jim, as you know, last year they knocked out at Syracuse University at the Dome. They knocked out their starting quarterback before the second half came up. It was at the end of the first half. This year, ironically, they switched quarterbacks and went with a young kid, a freshman, and he was looking pretty good, and he got slammed out, and he got taken out the field. So, ironically, back-to-back years, what are the odds of that happening? Your number one quarterback gets wiped out. Then this other kid comes in for Clemson and did a decent job, obviously, pulling it out 27-23 as Clemson won that game in a nail-biter. By the way, speaking of SU football, while I've never been a big fan of Dino Babers, I'm getting warming up to him a little bit, because I think his schedule this year, it's a lot easier than the one last year. I think Jim would agree with me on that.
No, they're the same teams. It's just they're not as good.
Right. You look at the schedule right now. Syracuse is 4-1, and I cannot see any reason not to think, unless Syracuse falls apart, and I find that hard to believe.
Well, they did last year after beating Clemson.
Yeah, I know, but I don't
think it's going to happen this year,
You got Syracuse going to Pittsburgh this week. Pittsburgh's not a very good program. They should beat Pittsburgh.
Let's hope,
They should beat them. UNC, with all due respect to UNC fans, they're not as good as they could be. And last year they had a good, decent
we should beat them too.
All right. Then NC State was a good program.
NC State's very good.
Are they good this year too? I haven't been following that closely.
Yeah, they're good. They're probably the toughest league game along with Boston College left on the schedule.
All right, NC State comes to Syracuse with big advantage for SU. Syracuse then travels to Wake Forest. They should take care of Wake Forest. Louisville, I'm not sure. I haven't tracked Louisville closely. How they doing? Okay?
Not as good as they have been in the past.
And a game that's being circled by all the Irish fans is Syracuse and Notre Dame will battle it out in that game.
We'll play Notre Dame anywhere. We beat them just as much as they beat us.
Now, Notre Dame's game is going to be played not at
Yankee Stadium.
Yankee Stadium. I did know that. And then, of course, they wrapped the season up going to Boston College. So it would appear from my vantage point that Syracuse has got a shot, in my mind, of winning 9 games. Really. If you lose to Notre Dame...
Yeah, how many more wins do they got to get ranked?
Yeah. Oh, that's getting
close.
close.
They should be ranked this week.
Yeah, they're getting close.
They're 4-1.
Yeah, I know. It is. Well, it is what it is. So that's our discussion on Syracuse. You know, I kind of warmed up to Dungy. I like his style as player. I just worry about him, his aggressiveness sometimes.
They can win 9 games. They can win.
It's possible.
10 games. They can win. What's more likely is probably they'll win 7 or 8 and go to a bowl.
Yeah.
But if they won this week, which it was a coin toss type of game,
right, with
a call that didn't go their way, that call really hurts, and I'm just sick of seeing that happen in Syracuse in some of these games. But then why not a BCS bid, and why not a college football playoff berth? I mean, that's what's wrong with this sport.
I agree.
Syracuse really had no chance to get into that college football playoff before the season started because they weren't ranked high enough. And even if they beat Clemson,
they wouldn't probably be considered.
If they go undefeated, they'd be like Central Florida.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just dumb. It's just dumb.
By the way, something that Jimmy is happy about, well, not happy about, but he plays a lot of golf. He enjoys it, and he's a good stick at well. He almost won the championship down in Seneca Falls this year. But let's move our attention to, I hate to say the Americans gagged, but, you know, I'm thinking really all focused. I didn't watch all of it. I watched parts of it. Of course, if you missed the Ryder Cup, it was in Paris, France this year. They hadn't won in the Europe scene for like 25 years or whatever. The Americans certainly had the stronger game, stronger players on their team. You want to look at world golf rankings. You want to look at it, money won. You want to look at any statistics, any metrics you want to throw up there. The Americans were the better team going in. But it's not stroke play for 72 holes, Jim. It's match play, and it's alternate shots. And there's something after the first session when Europe got down to the Americans, who looked good in the first session, which was Friday morning, leading 3-1 after the morning session. Now remember, folks, there's 28 points involved from start Friday morning to the end of Sunday, where you play 12 singles. The Americans had a 3-1 lead after Friday's morning session and ended up, after Sunday afternoon was done, with 10.5. So, Jim, 7.5 points they got. From Friday afternoon through Sunday night. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. I would never have taken Phil Mickelson. And he was on our draft board. We have a fantasy golf club that Jim's a member of, and I used to be a member for many years. Dennis Coggins and myself are sort of partners in this. We picked him this year, and he won one tournament, the World Golf Championship in Mexico, and that was a fluke because the guy can't hit it straight. He hits it everywhere. And it's almost comical. He's 48 years old. There was speculation whether or not he would get a captain's pick. And he got it. Mm-hmm. And Tiger Woods got it. And Tiger Woods, of course, won the famous the PGA Tour event.
Tour Championship.
So, Jimmy, your thoughts on the Americans? I mean, they just could not muster up against those Urals. I mean, Molinari, Fleetwood, Poulter. How many times are we going to see Poulter go like this after making a 3-foot putt? Yeah. I mean, it just is amazing how the Urals can handle the Americans. And I understand the Americans, you know, nice guys, great players. But you know what, Jim? What's your answer? How did you think after getting squashed like they did? That's an embarrassing loss.
Well, there's a lot of things to it. First of all, it seems like the Americans act like a bunch of babies. They want to blame the captain, like some people were blaming Furyk for his parents. You should be able to pull the names out of a hat
with that number and
go out there and hit the shots you need to do. I mean, the Americans were hitting horrible golf shots. It doesn't matter who your partner is. Don't look for excuses. You just got outplayed. You should keep it like that. It's to me, the most disgraceful thing is to see some of the bickering and finger pointing and blaming the captain.
Yeah, I know.
You know, for the loss.
He
wasn't the one that took an iron off the tee on a par 5 and hit it in a pond that's 30 feet to the right of the fairway, you know? He wasn't the one that wasn't making putts. And Justin Thomas went 4-1 on the weekend. He was the only guy that went and played that course at the French Open. And none of the other Americans did. And then the other part of it is that all the Europeans play on the American Tour now, the PGA Tour. So they're, Americans don't go over there that often. Right. They go for the British Open maybe. Yeah. So, going from America, and they do travel the world to some extent, but really for a lot of these guys, it was only their second trip to Europe.
That's right.
And without a lot of time to prepare. So all these Europeans now, it used to be the Europeans played on their tour and the Americans played on their tour. Anymore. And so now it's all one big tour. And again, I just don't think the American players are that well prepared or have the correct type of outlook for team play. I think that they're a little full of themselves. I think that they view it more. I know that they take it seriously in terms of they know that they want to win and everything, but I don't think they know what it takes to win. I think they treat it more like a vacation, like getting this Ryder Cup berth is just an invitation to go over there and relax and have a party and to blow things up on social media. But what they forgot to do is hit the ball in the fairway. And that's the other thing, too, is the course set up by the Europeans.
They had the rough high. They had the rough real high.
Same for everybody, though. You know what? You're the best players in the world. Hit it in the fairway. Win the matches. Win holes. They got dusted. Just totally embarrassed. Bubba Watson, terrible. Phil Mickelson, terrible.
Horrible.
Tiger is, he's back. He won the Tour Championship. He's one of the best players in the world again, but it still hasn't changed that he's terrible in Ryder Cup play. As a matter of fact, you take Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods, they have been a member, I think, of 22 Ryder Cup teams between them. And one win.
It's amazing.
Could it be 22? No, that can't be. That couldn't be too much. However it is, they've got one win on a Ryder Cup team that they're both on the team.
Pretty amazing.
So they're not team players.
No, that's too bad. Well, and there's a little bickering behind the scenes, folks, if you didn't read it, on Golf Channel today. Patrick Reed, who, of course, won the Masters this year, of course, and obviously a good player. He was known playing with Jordan Spieth. They had an unbeatable twosome. The last time there was a Ryder Cup, Reed and Spieth just some hammering the opponents. And that was when Reed took on McIlroy, remember, in the singles final, and Rory made a 35-footer for birdie and got the match back to square, and all of a sudden Reed rolled and went in from 27 feet, and they were going, and Reed was just getting all excited, and the Americans were going crazy. Well, there's a little story behind the scenes about little unhappiness with Mr. Patrick Reed, who represented the American in the Ryder Cup. Supposedly he was upset with the captain, back to Jimmy's point, by Furyk making the decision to let it was the buddy system, and Reed wasn't part of that buddy system because Reed didn't get paired with Spieth. So, and basically he thought he was shunned away from playing with Jordan Spieth, and they were very successful as a team, but Furyk did not pair them up. And the way the story reads is Spieth heard from the grapevine when Reed was playing well with Spieth that Reed was telling fellow pros that he quote unquote carried Jordan Spieth. Maybe that's the reason Jordan didn't want to play with him. Who knows? It's like a soap opera, folks.
Either way,
go play.
You're on a team and you got your captain, so the captain decides what's going to happen. So you just go out there and play.
Play.
I can't. Don't when you lose go back and say, well, Jim Furyk shouldn't have paired me with him. And no, was that the reason that that you couldn't hit a good tee shot all day, Patrick Reed? Was because of Jim Furyk? Didn't like who you were paired with. I mean, it's just ridiculous. They makes them look like prima donnas, big babies.
Yeah, that's right.
Multi-million-dollar spoiled Americans going over there getting their butt kicked by the hardworking Europeans, also multimillionaires. But you just get the impression that they're more of a blue collar type of group.
I agree.
But again, they're over here playing the PGA Tour too. They're all these are all the top. The roster's made up of the top 30 players in the world.
Exactly.
They're all good golfers, and so don't complain about it.
Hey, by the way, we're ready to take a commercial break. Before we do, we're going to send out a couple of hellos and a couple of best wishes and congratulations to one of our colleagues here at Finger Lakes One, who's the news editor and a great guy and a good friend of mine, Josh Durso. Josh won for the second consecutive year the Silver Creek Championship, not beating up, but he did defeat my friend Mike Birdsall So, Jimmy, that was quite an achievement. 2 years in a row for Josh. Congratulations goes
we
out
should
to
have paired
Josh.
him with Tedrick Reed.
That's right. And my good friend Jack Stenberg, former sheriff of Seneca County, won the senior division. All right, Jack. I'm going to check his handicap index when I get over to Silver Creek. And by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't send out a couple of very, very happy birthdays to two of my closest. I haven't seen one in quite a while, and that's Georgina Rosada, Danny Rosada's mom, who's quite the impressive lady, and I really miss seeing her. I hope that I run into her soon. Georgina Rosada's birthday today. She turns the big 50. I don't know how old you are, Georgina. I don't know how old you are, honey, but I do miss seeing you. So happy birthday from H. Weber the dog. And as we get ready to break, my very good friend, I was over there today with desserts for him and his wife. Good old Sandy, and that's my buddy Junk. Call him Gino, call him anything. But today, Gene Lopez, a.k.a. Junk, 75 today. Happy birthday, guys. Resort and Casino has something for everyone. 2,000 slot machines and 99 gaming tables. The Vine, featuring top national music and comedy acts. The dining options. The Great Portico by Fabio Viviani. The Farmers Market Buffet, the Social Cafe and Bar. And the 14,000 square foot European style spa. Del Lago offers massages, body treatments, and facials, plus a full-service salon. Visit DelLagoResort.com for more information.
Cayuga Lake National Bank, offices in Union Springs and Aurora, a fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquor on Britt Street in Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her team will find the right spirit for you every time. When you stop in, tell Amy the dog sent you. The Omen Theater on William Street in Lyons. See what's playing this week at omentheater.com. Located off New York State Thruway Exit 41, the McGee Diner has earned their reputation as a popular family restaurant, serving country fresh home-cooked meals daily. Stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and check out their menu at mcgeediner.com. The Child Advocacy Center of the Finger Lakes is a child-friendly location where allegations of physical or sexual abuse are responded to by a multidisciplinary team of professionals. The team works together to conduct a thorough investigation and to provide necessary support services to children and their non-offending caregivers with a goal of minimizing further trauma to a child. Seneca Metals is an award-winning company that has earned a reputation of going above and beyond to protect the environment and support their community. As an EPA inspector once said, their operation is head and shoulders above the rest. And the Newark Pilots of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, a minor league team with a major league ballpark. Season ticket packages available at NewarkPilots.com. And the Wilson Press in Seneca Falls. My good pal Rich Rickey and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Visit them online at wpress.com.
And as I always like to do, I don't do it enough. I always like to thank my great sponsors that have been with me forever, many of them, and I do thank you for your support for the Weber Show. We have been really hooked at the hip for many, many years. So thank you very much for your continued support of this program. By the way, I mentioned earlier, if you want to come on our show and be a guest here or guest, we can handle, pretty any kind of number of people that want to come in here. I guess we probably would like to limit it to maybe, Jimmy, 4 or 5 people, something like that.
Uh-huh.
We got, if you're going to come in and talk about an event, you want to plug it on my show, I'd be more than glad to have you. Contact myself or Jim Senacropi and let us know if what the subject is, and we'll get back to you. I'll call you back and let you know what dates we have available, and we'll book you in. Again, I will be here next week, and I won't be here on the 15th. Jim will be doing something in regards to the program. Hey, before I go back to finishing up with a couple of topics on sports, whether you're a 5K or a 10K, you will love the trail run through habitat that is home or home away from home to over 200 species of birds. Race proceeds benefit wounded warriors in action. Online registration only. That's going to be coming up at Seneca Meadows Wetlands Preserve. That's in Blackbrook Road. And, of course, the date is coming up this Saturday, October the 6th at 3 o'clock. Once again, that sounds like a lot of fun. Another event put on by my friends out at Seneca Meadows. Well, Jim, we were talking about SU football earlier in the show, and I would be remiss if I did not tell you that I'm a lot older than you are, as you know, but I can remember many decades of outstanding football by the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. You remember as well when Nebraska was number one and got upset at the Dome.
I was there.
But I want to tell you something. The thought of Scott Frost, who, by the way, was an All-American, and I believe he was on a championship or so.
Orange Bowl team.
Right. The guy got hired back, and he was number one wished of the Nebraska management and all of their authorities. They wanted him, and they finally got him. They paid him a very handsome bunch of money to come back to coach. He is a Nebraska kid. They love him, but guess what? Oh, boy, Jimmy, I've been watching that program because I was curious how he would do. I'm not sure they could beat Lamar Tech. I'm not sure they could beat anybody. They've been getting crushed. And not only, Jimmy, getting crushed by schools that you know of, they're getting crushed by teams I've never heard of. And, oh, by the way, they got Wisconsin this week. Good luck on that one. It's amazing how Frost going in Nebraska, you know, with their tradition, I'm sure a lot of the former Nebraska athletes get some kids to come there. It's just mind-boggling. And it's not just that they're bad. They're horribly bad. I mean, and I don't think they're in the toughest part of their schedule yet. So I just wanted to pass that along. I would hope to see Scott Frost win a couple of games out of Nebraska, but hey, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, I don't care about Nebraska. Yeah. They can lose every game. I don't care.
Jimmy, I mean, you want to pull for good teams. You know? I mean, they used to be
Nebraska.
Well, listen, you still playing some golf, right? Still playing in October?
Played golf yesterday morning. It was really cold. But
oh, boy.
We played.
What time did you guys tee off?
7:30 a.m.
Yeah. Baby. Was the wind blowing?
It was a little windy, heavy dew. It was wet. It was, but yeah, I mean, there's still good golf left for the next month. Hopefully the weather warms up a little bit and we don't get too much rain, but plenty of good golf left.
Now, by the way, I know we're a few weeks away, but are we planning on covering some high school basketball as we've been doing the last several years?
Oh, yeah, we're getting ready for
right.
Another season of high school basketball. We're shoring up our main sponsors and looking for new sponsors.
That's right.
How
many games did we do last year complete?
At the end of the postseason, it was 42. Our last game was the Mid-Lakes girls losing in the state Final Four. And they could get back there again this year. They're going to be great.
Yeah. By the way, if you are a business, small business, medium-sized business, or large business, and you haven't sponsored our basketball coverage, please get a hold of Jim and get yourself hooked up. Because I'll tell you what,
Sydney Rogers. Sydney at FingerLakes1.com. SYDNEY at FingerLakes1.com.
Tell you what, it's a great program, and you get a lot of coverage. You get a lot of mentions. You get a lot of video, and you also get a lot of games. 42 games. So, okay, as we are running out of time, it's almost 3:30. Thanks, Jim. We sharing your comments.
Always a pleasure.
We'll look forward to doing something next week. Either we do this again or we try to track down somebody to come on. We'll let you know. But again, thank you very much for joining us. And again, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of good old birthday wishes to my friend Georgina Rosada. Happy birthday, Georgina. And to my very close friend, the Geno Man, Gene Lopez, 75 today. Take care.